தொடர்ந்து வழக்கறிஞர் ஆறுமுகம் அவர்களை அன்போடு அழைக்கின்றோம் உரை நிகழ்த்துவதற்காக. நன்றி.
My speech is an outcome of our consultations with civil society. I speak for the Muthusami, Kamachi, Govindan, Muniyamma and their families and children who stood with us on the 25th of November 2007 during the Hindraf rally. Crying foul, crying injustice, they felt cheated by the government elected over and over for 11 terms. They were living as a second-class citizens in the country in which they toiled for years to improve the economy. They were marginalized from the mainstream development of Malaysia. In 2008, March 8, Indians vote swung. They voted in droves in favor of the opposing party which stood against Barisan Nasional. We were not very clear whether they are voting for PAS, they are voting for DAP or they are voting for PKR. They just don't want to vote for PN. Since then, we have gone through 4 crucial years in Selangor and other states held by Pakatan Rakyat. Selangor under the leadership of Tan Sri Dato Sri Khalid Ibrahim, Dato Menteri Besar Selangor, who made Selangor a state with more cash. As I read his budget speech, he showed that in his cash balance he got 1.2 billion ringgit in Selangor, and that belongs to all of us. We got 1.2 billion in Selangor belonging to the people of Selangor. He also created Merayakan economy and also the slogan Selangor ko hasil negeri untuk rakyat. Next stop for Pakatan Rakyat is Putrajaya. I'm sure you all are with me to say that the next stop for Pakatan Rakyat is Putrajaya, provided what we are going to seek in Putrajaya will benefit each and every one of us, and not that we get played out like what BN did for us. No way we will allow that. We want to create a 2-party system in which we will give the opportunity to Pakatan Rakyat to show that they are very different and totally different than Barisan Nasional. Our economic advisor, Dr. Sri Anwar Ibrahim, the Prime Minister in waiting, is a person of courage, wisdom and knowledge. He broke the DN's myth that racial diversity was potentially explosive, and the need for rapid economic progress is incompatible with democracy. As I said earlier, Tan Sri Khalid has proven that given the diversity, given the democracy, he can actually save 1.2 billion. It is a possibility for Malaysia to have a diversity in politics, in accommodating each and every race, each and every citizen, so that all can stand with dignity and enjoy the benefit of this bountiful country with immense wealth in it, if only we can do it together. Dato Sri Anwar is a strong advocate of distributive justice to ensure that everybody had equal opportunity and no one race should be left behind. He wants to give us freedom and democracy. I mean, he's going to be the Prime Minister, and in his speeches, inevitably he touches on that. He's a man who will fight against racism and corruption. We want to stand by those words that he actually fights against racism and corruption and makes a state that is beneficial to the public and each and every one of us. We are with you in all this, but let me take this opportunity to highlight the Indian-Malaysian dilemma in this equation to capture Putrajaya and realize a meaningful 2-party system. As I explained in Tamil, these are only 2 issues. One is the constitution, the other one is the civil service. The communal political system over the years has removed the protection available in the Malaysian constitution for the Indians. The founding constitution, after over 700 amendments, is no longer one that can offer equality. It will leave the Indian Malaysians as second-class citizens with any others who are in the same boat. Let it be Gadasan, let it be Chinese, let it be anyone. Second, touching on the civil service. The civil service over the last 54 years is entrenched with a system that is committed to only one race, sadly so. A practice condoned and promoted not only by the Malays, also by the MIC and MCA. They slept together to promote that kind of system in which we suffer as of now. We have got policies. What about the implementation? What can the policy do if there is no implementation? Our Satu Malaysian Najib is going around and telling so many things. Where is the implementation? Let me remind. The implementation coordination unit, the ICU under the Prime Minister's department, is solely filled with people who can only take care of one race and not the Indians, not the Chinese, because it doesn't work in the civil service. You can have beautiful policies. It will never work until you get rid of this ICU and make it fully represented by all races who can breathe the same air as any citizens who are deprived of their rights in this country. The second is BTN. This is a very famous topic for all of us. Biro Tata Negara. What has it created? It has set the mindset of the civil servants in just one track. The track is to say that Chinese and Indians are second-class citizens, but for say, Ketuanan Melayu is the supreme race to rule this country. That cannot be the truth. The civil servants cannot sleep over it, believing that the Biro Tata Negara is their godfather for them to rule the state, even though the policies can mean to benefit all races. Fortunately, in Selangor and Penang, they formulated the situation in which they say, BTN, don't get into Selangor and Penang. We congratulate Pakatan Rakyat for that position taken. Given the two situations of constitution and civil service, the Indians are unequal constitutionally and are facing a civil service that's entrenched with racial bias. So the political rights of Indians ought to be protected by a non-communal political system is falling. Sorry to say that it's falling. The entrenched communal political structure has alienated and continuing the alienation of the Indian Malaysians from the centers of political and economic power. The notion that non-Indians, example Malays and Chinese, pardon me if I'm wrong, can effectively represent the political and economic aspirations of Indian Malaysians is flawed due to the continuing entrenched system of communal politics, which will take some time to dismantle. I don't know how long. For the above reasons, the Indians are facing a dilemma as to the strategy that Pakatan Rakyat need for the two-party system. We believe Pakatan Rakyat has the resolute and strength to perform. However, there is an intermediate period in which we need to address the sensitivities of the races, their support, tolerance and accommodation. Pakatan Rakyat need to listen to the Indian community, need to listen to the Indians closely, need to listen to the whispers of the kids to the aged. We have a story to tell. For example, 60% of the Bumiputra families are earning below Ringgit Malaysia 2,000 is about 60%. Whereas for the Indians earning less than 2,000 is about 21%. The Bumiputra ratio of 60% correlates with their population itself. Whereas for the Indians who form roughly about 8%, their poverty rate earning below 2,000 is 21%, it's about 2.5 times more. How can you have a state policy in which you want to look at equality, but when you know that deprivation is higher on one side, given the circumstances that none of the affirmative actions are ever available for anyone other than the Bumiputra, so though the Bumiputra were closer to the power to be. For the coming election, the Indian Malaysians are expected to play a very crucial role. This can be seen in the desperate move of the Barisan Nasional. They have been feeding the Indians nooks and corners with mutton and chicken curry. But people gathered here, they've come here to see a vision in Pakatan Rakyat, a vision to rule all of us for the benefit of the Indian, to stand tall and counted as a Malaysian, a citizen of this country, a citizen who can be proud of his contribution of the past, who toiled this country to earn what Malaysia is today. Therefore, Pakatan Rakyat needs to capture the imagination of the Indians for a change and for a two-party system. The civil society is very keen to be part of that move. We want to talk to our Pakatan Rakyat representatives. The civil society wants to talk to the Pakatan Rakyat representatives. We want to explain to you. We need a template from the Pakatan Rakyat to capture the imagination of Muthusami, Kamachi, Govindan and Muniyamma and their families and children who stood with us on the 25th of November 2007. We look forward to that moment where we are counted and not taken for granted. So I appeal to the Pakatan Rakyat leaders that the civil society will be in dialogue with the representative of the Pakatan Rakyat to provide the potential template which will harness the Indian votes across the country in order for to have a successful two-party system in which we want to see we are counted and we are with you in this. Thank you very much. Nandri, Vanakkam.